Hello and welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's session where we will be rediscovering how we can use UpSlide for boosting branding. So this will be the first of 3 sessions that UpSlide will be hosting. These will be on branding, productivity, and collaboration. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself and our team at UpSlide. My name's Kimia and I'm a consultant within our London office. And I'm also joined by my lovely colleagues, Philip and Emmanuel, who will be here to answer all your questions. A bit of housekeeping. We will be here to answer any questions that you may have, but we do kindly ask that you utilize the chat function for these. As I mentioned just now, Philip and Emmanuel will be monitoring the chat throughout this webinar. I also want to further note that we will be recording this session and recordings will be sent out to you for your reference following this session. If you notice throughout this session that my UpSlide toolbar looks a little bit different to yours, you may not have auto update switched on. So with auto updates, you can ensure that you will have access to the latest version of UpSlide, which also means you will have access to our newest features. You're able to check which version you're on within the UpSlide settings. So if I exit out of presenter mode, within the UpSlide ribbon in the far right-hand side, you will see the settings button. In this About tab, you'll be able to see which version you're in. If you're not in version 6.8.24, then you're not in our latest version. So I would suggest that you just reach out to your account manager and they'll be able to sort this out for you. For today's agenda, we're going to be focusing on branding. So I'll spend the next 15 minutes or so within PowerPoint with focus on building your presentations and formatting the slides. I'll then spend the final section of the webinar showing you UpSlide's formatting features within Excel. We'll leave about 5 minutes towards the end of the webinar to answer any remaining questions that you may have. So UpSlide's automatic table of contents feature lives within the UpSlide ribbon. In the second section here, table of contents. In this section, you'll be able to find all the tools that are used to automate your table of contents, your sections, subsections, and your appendices. If you have UpSlide customized, you can also always be sure that you're always going to be in your company's branding when you're adding any of these sections into your presentations. Now, as you can see, I'm already within a section that is titled Table of Contents. However, I'd like to add a section before this one. The question here is, how can I do this? How can I add in a new section? So first, I need to click into where I'd like my section to appear. So in this case, before this table of contents section. I then navigate back to the UpSlide ribbon, into the table of contents section, and select this Insert dropdown. Here you have the option to select a new section. And I'll name this section UpSlide Webinar. When I click OK, you'll notice that a new slide has been created in my PowerPoint, which has the title of the subsection and it's in the UpSlide branding. Now, using the same drop-down, I can also add in subsections. Again, to add in a subsection, I need to select where I would like it to appear. So in this case, in between my 2 sections. Again, go into the UpSlide Insert drop-down and select subsection. And I will call this one sample subsection. You'll notice that a new subsection divider has also pulled in the same UpSlide branding. So now that I've created a few sections within my presentation, I don't need to worry about spending lots of time on creating a table of contents, as UpSlide can do this for me. So to add in this automated table of contents, again, I will just need to decide where I would like this to appear. In this case, I'd like it to appear before my sections start. So I'll select this position here. Again, in the table of contents section in the Insert dropdown, I can select Table of Contents. You'll notice here that UpSlide has very smartly created a pre-populated table of contents, which displays all of the sections within my presentation. So as you can see on my screen here, my subsection title is not currently appearing on my agenda slide. So users such as yourselves are actually able to use our options button to toggle on and off how you'd like your presentation to look. So if I select this options button here, you can see a pane opens on the right-hand side, giving you options on how you would like your presentation to appear. So if in this case I would like my subsection titles to also appear on my agenda slide, I can very easily toggle this on and off here, and you will see this making a change live. Similarly, if I want my subsection title divider to not show up, again, I can deselect that here, and you'll see in my live view that that has disappeared on my section dividers. So with our options tool, this allows you as users to control the level of detail that you'd like to show within your presentations, whilst also ensuring that you are consistently staying on brand. If I exit out of this options pane, so you can see that within my presentation, I only have 5 sections. However, I'm so sure that you often find yourself working within larger decks, which have more sections and even more slides than we have here. I know personally that before starting working at UpSlide, I often found myself getting super frustrated when I'm rearranging my sections, and I would often spend quite a bit of time working out which slide belongs into which section. With UpSlide's outline tool, we're able to get an overview of our presentations and see where sections begin and end. And another added benefit of the outline tool is that you can really easily rearrange presentations. So you can find this outline tool in, again, the table of contents section underneath the insert dropdown. As you can see on the right-hand side, we're presented with an overview of our presentation, including our sections and the slides within that section. So whilst I remain in my table of contents, you can see that the 2 sections that I added here, the introduction and our UpSlide webinar, you can see that these sections can be visible here. Now, say I wanted to switch the order of these 2 sections. We can do this really easily by simply selecting the section we'd like to rearrange and dragging and dropping it to the new location. You'll see that they have changed location. However, our agenda slide has not quite updated. For these changes to come through and to fix this, all we simply need to do is select this big refresh button that you see here. Once I've clicked that, you'll notice that my agenda slide has now been updated to reflect the new arrangement of my slides. So within the outline pane, we also have a few more handy tools. So if I right-click onto a section, you'll see that we have options to rename the section, remove the section, and also options to insert a new section or a new subsection. So now that we've built a sort of foundation for our presentation, we can begin to think about formatting. So UpSlide has an array of some super handy formatting tools to help boost your branding with ease. So they allow for us to very quickly align, format, and arrange various elements on our slide in just a few clicks. So you'll see now on my screen, I have a slide displaying my wonderful colleagues at UpSlide. You'll notice that on the right-hand side, all of the images are of different lengths and widths. So I now want to harmonize their dimensions to make them all the same size. So to do this, I'm going to select an image of my colleague Alex here as my reference. So to copy and paste the dimensions of this selected image, all I need to do is go into the UpSlide ribbon under this Precision Tools section of my UpSlide ribbon and select Smart Painter. Within this pane, you can select the elements you'd like to copy. So in this case, I'd like to copy the height and width of this image. So I simply need to select this width and height boxes. To apply this to my other images, all I simply need to do is either click on the element I'd like to apply this to, or equally, I can click and drag to apply it to the rest of my objects. So something to note is that this isn't restricted to just images. You can use it on text boxes, shapes, tombstones, anything along these lines. At the bottom of the pane, you'll see this All Formatting button here. By selecting this box, UpSlide will copy all of your formatting of your selected shape to your other shapes. So this could be outlines, font styles, font sizes, as well as background colors as well. So now that I've formatted my images to how I want them to look, I can use UpSlide's Arrange feature to align and position my images very quickly. First, I just need to select the images or objects that I'd like to arrange. So in this case, my wonderful colleagues. Then within the UpSlide ribbon, in the Precision Tools section, you will see this Arrange button. At the top of the pane, you'll be presented with a number of areas that UpSlide has identified. So as you hover over each one, you'll be able to see where these areas are. In this case, I'd like my objects to be arranged in this section, in this placeholder that we have here. You'll also notice that below this, UpSlide proposes various different arrangements for my images within the selected container. So again, if I click through these, we can have a look to see what UpSlide has suggested. Now, I like this one, so I'm going to select this. At the very bottom of the pane, we also have additional options to adjust the alignments and the margins as well. So as you can see, in a few simple clicks, my slide is a lot more tidy and a lot more organized with the help of UpSlide's precision tools. UpSlide has recently also released a number of new formatting features within PowerPoint, which helps with providing a consistent and on-brand look to your presentations. So these include formatting tables in just one click, using our Table Styles button, applying on-brand bullet styles, and also applying on-brand pre-formatted shapes. On this example slide, we have our quality of earnings overview page. As you can see, we have a super plain side with an unbranded table, some annotation on the right, and below a very faint call-out box. The question is, how can we now make this slide branded in a matter of clicks? Within the middle of your UpSlide ribbon, you will see the Format section, where you can find all of the tools that you will need to format this slide. So firstly, to format the table, all I need to do is select my table and go into the Tables drop-down within the Format section of my UpSlide ribbon. Here you will see a number of different table styles that you can select through that are already pre-formatted in your branding. So in this case, I'll select this style. To then add branding to my annotations on the right, again, I simply select the text box that I'd like to apply my formatting to. So this can be the whole text box or can be done paragraph by paragraph. And to apply formatting, again, I select this paragraph dropdown, and you can see a number of different font styles and sizes. In this case, I'm going to select the size 12 font with the blue bullet style. And you can see that applies formatting in one click. Finally, with pre-formatted shapes, same applies. Select the shape that you'd like to format. In the shape drop-down in the format section of the UpSlide ribbon, you can see a number of pre-formatted shapes for you here. In this case, I'm going to stick with the carmine color for UpSlide. So now that I'm done with my presentation, I can run through my presentation to check for any errors in just one click. So using slide check, UpSlide will screen my presentation and warn me of any errors that native PowerPoint wouldn't detect. So to find the slide check button, navigate to the left-hand side of your UpSlide ribbon, and you'll see this big shield button which says slide check. Once we select that, it will open up a pane on the right-hand side, which will run through your presentation, and it will enable you to view your errors by error type or by slide. So in this case, I want to focus on this particular slide. So I'm going to look at my errors by slide. And I'll select slide 17. Now, when you hover over an error, UpSlide will show you where that error is located. You can then decide whether you'd like to fix the error one by one or by using this blue spanner, or use the Fix All button up here. So what does slide check detect? So here we have misaligned shapes. To see where this error is, again, we can just hover over the error and we can select this spanner and it will fix. UpSlide also detects for any deviations from style in terms of fonts, font sizes, and font colors. And you'll see here that it gives us the option to go with a pre-approved on-brand font in just one click. UpSlide also detects for double space errors. And here is an example where we can either go through one by one and fix these, or we can use this Fix All button. We can also check for punctuation, spacing, empty placeholders, and also highlighted text. So now we can move on to our formatting features within Excel. When we're working within Excel, we no longer need to worry about spending extra time on formatting tables, graphs, charts, and this is because UpSlide can add branding with just one simple click using the Smart Format button, which can be found on the far left-hand side of your UpSlide ribbon here. What Smart Format does is it applies default formatting to your tables and charts in just one click. All you need to do to use Excel's Smart Format is simply select your unbranded table here, for example, and simply go back to that Smart Format button on the left-hand side, click the button, and you'll see that UpSlide automatically formats your table in just one click. Something to note here is that once we've hit Smart Format, UpSlide does still let you make further changes. So in this case, in our table, we may decide that we wish to highlight a particular value, and we can do this by selecting where we'd like to highlight, and we can use the line styles drop down here if it would like to load. And we get a list of all the different line styles that we can apply to our table. Again, this will be on brand and pre-agreed. As you can see here, it's made that change. You can also add additional number formatting here, should you wish. And you can also add in colors. To add colors, in that first section of your UpSlide ribbon, you will see this paint bucket tool. And again, what will happen here is you'll be presented with a list of on-brand colors, and you can make changes to your tables here as well. We're also able to add grid lines and change our font types here as well. The same applies for our charts here. So to apply smart format here, all I need to do is select my chart. And on the far left-hand side, we can click smart format. And again, it will pull through an on-brand color system, which pulls through your fonts, sizes, and colors, as you can see here. And again, to apply this to your graphs, all you need to do is select your graph and click smart format again. As before, you can make additional changes here as well to colors. If you'd like to highlight a particular bar, you can do so here. If I want to make that yellow. If I'd like to change the chart title style, again, I can select my chart title, go back into my format section into the font gallery, and I can change the style here as well. So this concludes everything that I wanted to cover with you on branding with an UpSlide. We were able to go through some of the time-saving elements with UpSlide, which enable you to ensure that presentations, tables, charts, graphs, everything along these lines are consistently on brand. So before I move on, Philip, were there any questions that came through on the chat?
Hey, Kim, and thank you very much, everyone, for the questions. There are a couple of questions that could be interesting to show. One of them is about refreshing the automation. So say if you wanted to change the title of a section divider, how do you update that on your agenda slide?
That's an excellent question. I'll show you how we can do that. So to change titles, there's two ways we can do that. So we can do this directly on our section divider slides. So for example, let's go on to the ones that we added. So we called this one UpSlide Webinar. If we wanted to change the title of this to just Webinar or anything, we can change it on here. And you'll notice that on our table of contents has disappeared. Oh, no, it hasn't. I've just moved it around. I'll reinsert my table of contents here, and you'll see that it's updated. But let me just show you again how to do that, because that wasn't very clear. So my section is now Webinar, and I want to title it UpSlide Webinar. When I change that on the section divider, you'll notice it hasn't changed on the agenda. To pull that through, you just need to click that refresh button, and it should pull through. Another way that you can do this is on that outline pane, which I'll remind you where to find it. In the table of contents section of the UpSlide ribbon, click the outline button. Select the section that you'd like to rename. Right-click, and you can rename that here as well. Again, to pull that through, you'll see that it's updated the section title. But to update it on your table of contents, just click that big refresh button, and it should pull through.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim, for sharing that. The other question was about the arranging and if you could select what order your elements are arranged in. However, unfortunately, this at the moment is not possible, but maybe you could show the swap features and how you can swap two elements quite quickly by using that feature.
Absolutely. So if you'd like to switch the positioning of two of your elements, you can select these. For example, I want to switch the positioning of these two. I select the items that I'd like to switch. In the precision tools of your UpSlide ribbon, on the arrange button, there's a drop down and you can choose to swap these. So I'll swap these by the top left-hand corner and you'll see that it keeps the positioning but just switches the two around.
Perfect. Thanks, Kim. That was all.
Amazing. Thank you so much for all the questions, everyone. I'll just go back into the presenter mode. Fantastic. So if you'd like to get in touch regarding any support, we have our Help Center and our Contact Support buttons within the UpSlide ribbon. So UpSlide's Help Center has an abundance of information, including step-by-step guides that you can follow. But for the more technical questions, please do feel free to reach out to our support team. And you can find this Help button in the far right-hand side of your UpSlide ribbon. You'll see this Help drop down here. You'll see Contact Support and your Help Center here. When you click the Contact Support button, this will open up an email with logs of your clicks as well. So just send that email to our support and they'll be able to assist you with any issues. Our Help Center, once you click on that, it will direct you to our website, which has all the information that I spoke about earlier. Finally, if you'd like to get in touch regarding switching auto update on or even organizing additional trainings for your team, please do reach out to our wonderful customer success manager, Liz, and she will help you out where she can as well. So after this webinar, again, we will be sending out a recording of the session, so you will have access to the materials and the contact information that you see on the screen here. I hope the session was very useful to everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.